Welcome to the Sprig Podcast, your source for the most relevant topics in pediatric dentistry. I'm your host, Dr. Jarod Johnson. COVID has accelerated the technology that we used in many areas of our office, mainly in digital technology. Today, I'm excited to touch on teledentistry again, and it's not in the way that you think we might be touching on it. It's actually a way that you can generate leads for your business and increase the number of new patients in your office. And more importantly, which I'm really excited about, is case acceptance. So today on our podcast, we have Tom Brown. He is a partner and vice president of sales for Your Virtual Consult. He has a great history in the dental industry. He's been in the dental industry for decades with Dental Intel, Local Med, or online scheduling. And he is now a partner at Your Virtual Consult. So welcome on the show today, Tom. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks a lot, Jarod. I'm really excited to be here and kind of like you touched on it, but share with all of your listeners what you have an opportunity to do with virtual consults. So much of it is talked about teledentistry, and there definitely is some of that, but so much more of it is really connecting with the doctor. Our platform helps patients connect with the doctor, not just to make an appointment, but really at a level that builds trust and then leads to that higher case acceptance like you talked about. So really excited to share some of those thoughts and ideas with your listeners today.
And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, because I did try your virtual consult back when I think it was like March or April of last year, almost a year ago. And you guys were already developing this to be for cosmetic dentists and lead generation. So you kind of had to switch gears a little bit and get into the emergency dentistry. And now you've really built a robust platform that you can utilize for both. And it's just interesting how healthcare, we usually lag about 2 years on technology for what was it? You go to a restaurant, they take your cell phone, they're going to text you when your table's ready. We're just starting to adapt that kind of technology with the dental offices, with scheduling appointments online on your phone. And it's just amazing that I think this is probably one of the better things if you look at something that came out of having COVID around, but it just sped up this telehealth. And I love it because pediatric dentists can definitely benefit from referrals that are a long ways away, seeing the patient. If they have their x-rays, you can talk to the patient, tell them what they might be getting next. And then your platform also shows your casework. So Sprig crowns, we're on the Sprig Podcast. I do Sprig crowns and they are beautiful. And I have before and an after to show that mom that's wondering, do I really want to travel an hour to go see Dr. Johnson? Well, this is the case that he did. And my kid looks similar to that. And we talked not in a doctor's office where you might have blood pressure and be white knuckling it, but that is one of the great things that can benefit now, as well as using it for the emergency services. You have a kid with an erupting tooth and you bring them in, they take a chair time, PPE costs. If you can just do that over the internet, why not? Keep them out of your office and you can bill for it now. So there's quite a few paths to teledentistry. I just wanted to keep touching on those. We touched again on consultations. You could also use this to do a live consult with an oral pathologist on a lesion and see if you want to biopsy it. And also there's different ways this platform works. Can you get into, there's two types, I guess, for our listeners. If you're not familiar with teledentistry, there's synchronous and asynchronous. What are the two different types and how does your virtual consult utilize both to maximize the ability of a doctor to communicate with a patient?
Well, perfect. And just to touch on what you started with is something good that came out of COVID, right? This really kicked the virtual consult teledentistry ahead at least 3 to 5 years. It probably would have taken that long for people to really understand it. And now I have my mom who's 89 years old and she's doing Skype and Zoom calls, right? Whereas people used to be a little bit, maybe nervous about being on video. Now it's just kind of natural. So getting to the synchronous and asynchronous, synchronous just means it's a real-time consult, kind of just like, you have a Zoom call with somebody, right? You're talking to them directly, and now you can actually share what's happening with your teeth, what you're feeling, and have that back and forth in those moments. And you said, from a pediatric dentist perspective, that's really key. I think when we talked before, Jarod, you mentioned, you really don't need to see somebody in your chair just because they've got a loose baby tooth, right? You'd rather take care of that over the video consult, which would be excellent. So there are some definite reasons to use the synchronous or the real time. And you can charge for that, as you said. The rule of thumb is if you're going to charge for it in your office, if it's a service that you do charge for, then you can charge for it if you're doing it virtually, right? So that's a good kind of litmus test to use. From an asynchronous standpoint, and this is really where we've had a ton of success with your virtual consult. What that really means is it's not in real time. And just to do a quick overview of how this works, you've got a widget on your website. It can be on your Facebook page, Instagram, your My Google Business page, and it really does attract attention on the website. It's an animated little circle, and we know that it gets clicked on like twice as much as everything else, on your website. But when that patient clicks on that, they're going to get a welcome video from the doctor, 30, 45 seconds. Again, really casual. If it's a video production, you're kind of doing it wrong, because what you're trying to get across with the patient is that you're a person. Now, you're a doctor. People are a lot of times scared of the doctor, especially if there's something wrong and they're having some pain in their teeth. So your virtual consult focuses on trying to reduce those barriers and build that trust even before the patient comes in. So that welcome video, that first step, is a huge thing. Now they're going to probably pick on a service. And now this is where you get a chance, as you mentioned earlier, to show maybe a case that before and after in a quick 45-second, 1-minute video, and just make them feel a little bit more comfortable that you've actually had cases like this before. And wow, take a look at the before and after pictures. And wow, isn't this great? Isn't this the outcome you're looking for? And you just see that trust rising in that patient. And now they fill in some information. They upload a few pictures, which it's all an in-browser experience. So there's nothing that anybody has to download in order to do that. And now the doctor has all of that information. They've got a little bit of the story. They've got the pictures. The next thing the patient sees is a personalized video consult that says, "Hi, Jarod, thanks so much for sending in your pictures. I see that," and then you go on and you describe what you see briefly and say, "I'd love to see it in the office. I think this is what we could do." And wow, you've already had 3 interactions with the patient. You probably spent 3 or 4 minutes total, and now they're coming into your office. So that's the asynchronous model, because when they're sending in those pictures, you don't have to do it immediately. You can do it later in the day. You can do it the next morning. I had a doctor last week say he had an emergency case. He's coming out of the gym and he looks at it on his cell phone, literally just does it right there, taps in, sends him a quick video using his cell phone and says, "Hey, John, just saw what happened with your tooth. You probably need to come in first thing tomorrow morning." And it was done. So there's a lot wrapped up in there, but the convenience factor, not only for the patient, but for the doctor, is so key. But when they go through that process, and I think you mentioned this a little earlier, the case acceptance, what does that actually do? You mentioned earlier that I was with Dental Intelligence. It's an analytics company, right? So I know, and ADA came out with some information as well, that case acceptance across the board is around 41%. What we're experiencing now with patients that use your virtual consult, that jumps to a shocking high of 89%. That's the average. And, first you step back and you think, well, wait, how can that jump that much? Well, think about it like this. If they really believe that they're seeing you for the 4th time and not the first time, they've gone through this process. You've had an opportunity to tell them what you believe it is. You haven't done the actual diagnosis yet. That happens in the practice. But they have an idea. You've given them an idea of the cost. Think of all the fears they have when they come into your practice. Usually, those are all gone. And now they're coming in, they're predisposed to move forward. So now all of the time that you spend in your office and in the chair with the patient, those are confirming what you've already kind of shared with them. And so that's why it's jumping up to 89%. But that's the asynchronous model. And we're getting a ton of positive feedback about that.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about the asynchronous model is instead of having your front desk ask the patient, where does it hurt? Up, upper left, lower, what is going on with the tooth? Is it a space maintainer? Is it a crown? You have a history at your office for patients that are been coming to you. So you already have probably an x-ray if they've been cooperative for it. And you know what you've done for treatment on that tooth or what another dentist did. And when they send the picture, you can then evaluate that, get the video back to the patient. They don't have to come in for a limited exam, sit in your chair and say, oh, now we're going to schedule you again. And it's going to be 3 weeks out and you're in pain and we're not doing anything today. That doesn't make for very happy moms. What's great is when you can do that consult, you have an idea what's going on. This procedure, I think maybe it's a failed treatment and you need to just re-cement a crown. We can put that anywhere on the day, right? If I need to generate aerosols and I need to do a crown or a pulpotomy, yeah, we're going to find a time. We can find a time for that one need because it's probably not like a new patient where you have 8 different things to take care of in one child's mouth. It's probably one thing that you can find a time where you're doing a simple filling on another patient. You can have them come in on the half hour, zip in there, do their treatment, get them out of pain, and then also save yourself. Number one, you just increased your production for 5 minutes of your time. You saved PPE from that chair, and you got new production from the treatment and getting an 81% chance of them coming and following through with that. It's just, that's my favorite part about it. We had a problem in my state where we weren't getting reimbursed unless we were doing that live. So that's why I shied away from the platform, but now I'm back and it has both. You can schedule a meeting to go on a Zoom with your patients and discuss it live if you need to for insurance. But I think there's just for pediatrics, post-op visits for your hospital patients could be done over this. You can save a lot of money in chair time, which will increase your production in other areas of the office by seeing another kid that actually has a need to be seen. So huge benefits to having this platform. And then what you also said was interesting. Just an example, that little widget, is it Brian Packard?
Yes, Dr. Brian Packard.
If you're interested in what this system looks like, he's a partner. He's done an excellent job on his website. He'd be one you maybe want to model. So on that little logo, they get the intro and then they go through and they take a little quiz about what's going on. And then you can get a video of the type of procedure that they're looking at. So maybe they're interested in Sprig's Easy Crowns. The mom wants zirconia crowns. After that first video, she gets that questionnaire, and then she starts to see, oh, there's a video about this case that Dr. Jarod did. These crowns look beautiful. I want that. She fills out a little bit more information on it. You get the chance to respond, show some more casework of kids that you've done. And I think that's why you're probably also not just them seeing you 4 times. I think it's the way you drill down into their problem and show them what you've done, show them solutions that you're getting an 81% case acceptance too. Wouldn't you think that setup is part of it too?
Yeah, without a doubt. It really starts, and like you say, you cast a wide net because you're gonna go on the website and the first thing you're gonna go to is that welcome video, which is really just a general welcome. But it really does start to break down those walls and build that trust. And now they're going to pick a specific service. And the practice gets to pick which services are going to be on their website. And you can even narrow them down to like age brackets and things. You can do that with campaigns on Facebook and on Instagram. So you're really getting to decide how to create really what is a funnel that's going to funnel towards the specific treatments that you want to do more of, and as you can almost feel the patient like taking that journey, right? They start off here, I want to know who the doctor is. I want to know if they are going to do what I need them to do. And now, will they do it for me? And all 3 of those first few videos just bring them down right into your practice, because then the next time, that's what they're doing. They're seeing you. And that case acceptance being 89% it's the reason they do it. I have to tell you here, Jarod, I've had a couple of doctors ask me, well, if somebody goes through this process, does that maybe stop some people from coming in? And I said, well, absolutely it does, for 2 reasons. One, you can do a live consult, so you don't take up the chair time like you were talking about earlier, which is all positive because you can even bill for that. But there's even a positive for people to self-select out and not come in, because if once you've kind of explained the the circumstances around what's happening with their child's teeth or whatever, if they're not ready to move forward, and isn't it better that they don't come into the chair at that time, that they wait until they're ready, so now you have more productive chair time? So it's really in both ways. And both of those things definitely impact the case acceptance, driving all the way up to 89%.
Yeah, that's impressive. I did a lecture for the AAPD this year, and I was looking at all these marketing metrics, and I saw 41%. Geez, that's got to be low. And then you go and look at what you have sitting on the table in your outstanding treatment plans, and you go, oh, geez, that's me. That's this guy right here. And in pediatric dentistry, we're not selling cosmetic stuff. I mean, Sprig crowns are cosmetic, but there are other alternatives, and I prefer to use the Sprig crowns, and that's what we offer in my office. But it's not a cosmetic. This is what your kid needs, right? It's not like we're doing these huge cases of veneers and everything. It's more taking care of the child's cavities and their pain. And so I think for me, I don't ever feel like I'm, some people say selling dentistry. I don't feel like that. This is the best I can offer. These crowns are beautiful, and it's what I can do for your child. And if they don't want to do that, I mean, that's part of life. Not everyone's going to want to do exactly what we want to do, and there's maybe another option that they can go see. I just had another question come up with billing. We've talked a lot about billing. So some people will do this as like a free consult just to get the lead generation and then pick up the money when they come in the office and finish the treatment. Is there a way to set this up so that you can do billing for a emergency patient that calls or does this consult at 6:00, and then they're not bugging you on the cell phone? You can have a nice dinner with your family and get back to them when you review it and see it's not an avulsed tooth or something more emergent.
As a matter of fact, you can. We do have an integration built out with Stripe so far. So if you're using Stripe as a billing tool, that's actually part of the automated process to just bill those procedures. So you don't have to go outside of the system to do that if you have Stripe. We are looking into integrating with a couple of other ones. Can't say really who right now, but it is an option. And again, anything that you can automate that isn't part of that person-to-person contact between a patient and a doctor, because let's face it, dentistry is all about that one-to-one connection and that trust that you build up. Everything kind of outside of that, the more you can automate it, the better off you are. So from an insurance standpoint, as far as billing it, you have to use the two codes. You've got to use the clinical code, but then you either use the synchronous code, which is D9995, or the asynchronous code D9996. That's right out of the ADA. And the ADA is a great resource for this. So you're sending two codes to the insurance company to get paid. But the ADA is a good place to go for the information you need about teledentistry and virtual consults just in general. There are some states that have different rules and requirements for both insurance and for what you can actually do and bill through that. And they're different in all 50 states. But I think it's going to move more towards being able to bill for these virtual consults, because more and more the patients are going to require them and really want them, because let's face it, like you've pointed out a couple of times, Jarod, if you can handle something like a post-op over the phone, why drive there to get that? Why spend the money on the PPE? Why have that chair taken up when you can actually go back and forth with them through a video consult and make that happen? I think that will start changing what's going to be accepted and not accepted from an insurance perspective as we move forward.
Yeah, and I also think when it comes down to it, if you have a post-op visit and there's something that you do need to still follow up with them at the office for, you can still do that. And it took no more than 5 minutes, and now you have a better idea of their complaint. Your staff can be prepared for the procedure instead of them coming in for the post-op. Now we see what's going on. Now, I have a little extra cement. You got to go run and get the scaler. That can all be set up and have a better patient experience just from when they walk in the door. The room's ready. You're not sitting and waiting and changing PPE to enter rooms. It's just a little more streamlined for just everyone involved in the case. One other question, we think of it as we're sitting on the other end, right? So we're the doctor and we're sitting there. How are patients feeling about this? Is this technology something that they like? Does it excite them? Is it uncomfortable? What do you think people are open to this? Those are all kind of things that someone might be a little hesitant about. Well, are my patients even going to get online and film a video about their teeth?
Well, I guess the best answer is just like a fact-based answer to begin with, and case acceptance is up to 89%. So the patients have to be really liking that because they're moving forward with their treatment and obviously leading a healthier life. But there's another reason as well why we're getting really positive feedback, and it goes back to what came out of COVID. We were all forced to get on Zoom meetings. We were all forced to use Skype. Everybody has become so much more comfortable. As again, I'll use my mom as an example. She's 89 years old, had never heard of Skype or Zoom. And now that's how she interacts with everybody. She's at an assisted living place where for almost a year, nobody could actually physically come in and visit her. And so now she's nimble with all of those technologies. And so is everybody else. Look at how many people are working remote now, and that used to have to come into the office every day. So I think it's really kickstarted this 3 to 5 years in advance of where it might have been, because this is what's actually happening in the rest of their lives. And now when you think about the fact that, like, okay, so you look at the pediatric dentistry, it's the moms in their 20s, 30s that are using it, the millennials, they want to do everything that's more convenient, right? They're happy to jump online. I mean, my kids don't even want to pick up the phone call. If you text them, they'll be okay with that. So the more they can do in advance and make it more convenient and save time, they're happy about it. And they're on video all the time now with people, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, TikTok. It's just become so much a part of society now that it's just like it's a no-brainer really at this point. And because this is still relatively new in the dental space, as you pointed out, usually we're a couple of years behind. This is really a huge competitive advantage for the practices that do decide to use your virtual consult, because think of the experience the patient has when they're walking in the door for the first time with all that trepidation and fear versus somebody walking in the door after your virtual consult where they kind of know exactly what's going to happen and they're prepared for it. That's a huge, huge difference, not to mention 41 versus 89% case acceptance. So I think they're pretty excited about it. I think that people are just going to start adopting this as the norm.
Yeah, I think, and if you look at the cost of all these platforms, you guys are very, very competitive. And I look at it as if, what is it? How many patients am I going to have to get to make this value worth it? So it's one. Right? If they have work, it's one pays for it. So, and then if you're having limited exams and stuff on top of that, I mean, those are all things you're doing anyways. So you're really, by adopting it, you look at the price of these things and it's like, well, yeah, that is another, how much, but what is it going to save me? And then what is it going to get me? You got to look at that. And I think it's a no brainer for my office easily with the increased case acceptance and the ability to do those limited exams and bill for them. I think it's all just great. I have one more. I don't know if you have this in development, but you might get this question come up. I know you might not be able to answer it, but we as pediatric dentists, we like to give a little toy or gift. So I did one, I think a few weeks ago. The kid was sick and they referred to us. So we did a virtual consult and I ended up shipping up some toys in a box to them for at the end. Do you have any free coloring downloads or something that you can send for the kids to print off? And I know the AAPD has some great coloring resources, and so does the ADA. Do you have any of that stuff planned? So when they get that email, you click, oh, this is a kid, send them this stuff to color and a little bit, maybe the office logo on there, something cool.
First of all, I love that idea. I full transparency, I don't know that anybody here had actually thought of that. I was writing it down as you were saying that, because what a great idea. The whole idea of connecting with your doctor through these videos and learning kind of their personality and everything, that's frosting on the cake. You're sending them kind of something to color, and it just makes you more part of that family's experience with their dentist. So I really like that idea. I've written it down. I'm sending it to development. I think that's something we ought to consider. I have no idea how to make that work, but I'm
Well, you
definitely going
send
to
the
move it
email,
forward.
right? You just have a link to click to a landing page or something that's already at the office. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an idea or some thoughts. I didn't know if you guys were planning that, or I don't know if some offices have like a patient reward app that you could give them points. I don't know. We're not into that stuff in my office, but some people love doing that at their offices. Um, just some simple things, or maybe you give them a thing for something when they come in and see you to get a special something like a chocolate toothpaste or something different that gets them to come in too if they're on the fence too. So that may be an
I,
option.
by the way,
My
these are
last
great ideas.
my last question here regards to you're developing this platform. How does someone get a demo or more information on what it costs? How do they kind of do a test drive of it to say with your sales team and see if it's right for them or not?
It's actually the perfect place to go is to offers.yourvirtualconsult/Sprig. So they'll go directly to the Sprig landing page. And the reason that's where you want to go is because we're giving a special to anybody who calls in for Sprig or from Sprig that they'll get 60% off of the setup fee. And if they do sign up this month, they're also going to get their first month for free. So kind of a cool system. Think that would be great. It's normally $9.90 to set it up as a one-time fee, and then $2.99 from a monthly fee. There are different promos and stuff like that we can use, but you're going to get 60% off of the setup fee right out of the gate. And again, if you do it this month, you're going to get the first month free. If you'd rather call in, you can go to 858-939-9338. But those are the two best places to go. If you do call in, make sure you're calling in and you mention Sprig, so you get the 60% off.
And then, Tom, lastly, I want to give you some of my cases that has Sprig's work on it, so that when these people that are using Sprig, they can, just like Dr. Packer does, have a little bit of a library to show parents and some videos. We have some great videos that Sprig came down and filmed at my office. But I want to help you collaborate with Sprig and get those cases, because I think this ultimately it's going to help the doctor, but it's also, I think, an opportunity for Sprig to just partner with you guys, have some cases, some videos, and really bring in the people that want these zirconia crowns and beautiful products if you do them at your office, and just help you generate leads. And I love doing the crowns. Everyone that does them, they love doing them. And I'm going to the OR tomorrow. I get to do a bunch of them, and they're one of my favorite procedures to do in pediatric dentistry, because every case, it's just like that wow factor, the before and after. So I'll try to work with you on that, and then maybe I can send you those coloring pages and ideas too, Tom. So I really appreciate your time today. It's been great to work with you. I look forward to using this platform a lot more now in my office, and getting our staff on board, getting all our cases up there, and things that are all pedo, because I know you got a lot of great cases for GPs, but we definitely can hunker down on the pediatric side and build a nice library together. And I look forward to working with you. So thanks again for coming on. Anything else you want to share with listeners today?
Just thank you very much, Jarod. I really appreciate you spending the time with me and allowing me to help educate your listeners. I love the idea of getting some more videos and some more before and after pictures, because you're right. All you have to do is have those, and you can upload those to your virtual consult case folder, and you can use them. So we would definitely love to partner with you on that.
All right. And it's nice that when you onboard, you don't have to go dig for a picture of a broken space maintainer or something like that to get them started. So,
Yes.
I'm going to be doing it already for my office. So I'd be happy to work with you. I need to build my library now, and then it's just one less thing that your docs have to do. So thanks again. And it's been great to meet you, and look forward to the relationship with your virtual consult.
Well, thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Sprig Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share on social media. If you have any questions, or if you have a topic you would like to hear covered in a future episode, please email podcast@sprigusa.com.